Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Hobby Quick Hits. And this episode is going to be about, the NFL season. The regular season just wrapped up as we are in the playoffs now, the postseason. So I'm going to put a little bow tie. We're going to talk about some of the players, right? Mostly on the offensive side in the hobby, quarterbacks, receivers, running backs. Kind of put a bow on the year, how their status has changed hobby-wise, what might be guys to buy. Maybe you missed the boat. What guys, maybe it's too late, right? It's their prices are already too high. Maybe guys that didn't have a great year, but I still potentially believe in them, and maybe it's a good time to buy. Double whammy, right? Off season, prices get lower, and buy low because they didn't have a great year, but they're better than they played this year, right? Or maybe guys you sell, guys who just haven't had a great year, but it was more, an anomaly than what you would expect every year. So that's what we're going to talk about. The hobby year that was in the NFL. Again, keep in mind we're recording this as the playoffs are underway. So we're really just talking about regular season performance here. Okay, we're going to hear from our great sponsor, the Sports Card Shop, with the Gocher family doing big things in 2 locations. Then we're going to have Max do our product release schedule and then get into the topic. We're going to kind of cut out the news this week, kind of a slow news week. And it just gives us a little more time to talk some football and the hobby.
Hi, this is Pat Hughes, Cubs announcer, coming to you from the Sports Card Shop in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan. The Gocher family has built an incredible place here for collectors to buy, sell, and trade cards and memorabilia. Be sure to stop by and let them show you around. TheSportsCardShop.com, connecting sports, athletes, the hobby, and collectors around the world.
Hi. This is Alan Pinkett, and I'm here to tell you the Gocher family has done it again. They've just opened up the Sport Card Shop in downtown Valparaiso, Indiana, and it is awesome. If you're a collector, you need to check this place out. Tell them Alan sent you and get a free gift on your first visit.
Let's check out this week's Hobby Wax releases. Take it away, Max.
Hey guys, it's Max from the Sports Card Shop, bringing you guys upcoming releases here. Starting off on January 14th, we have 2025 Bowman Draft Baseball Breaker's Delight, as well as the Baseball Hobby Baseball Super Jumbo. Also on the 14th, we have 2025 Panini Select Baseball, 2025 Upper Deck AEW SP Signature Edition, 2025-26 Upper Deck Allure Hockey. On the 15th, we have 2026 Topps Chrome U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Hopefuls Blaster and Hopefuls Hobby, as well as 2025-26 Topps UEFA Club Competition Soccer Hobby. On the 16th, we have 2024-25 Topps UEFA Women's Champions League Chrome Soccer Blaster, as well as the Chrome Soccer Sapphire. Continuing on, we have on the 22nd, 2025 Topps Chrome Formula 1 Racing Blaster in the Racing Hobby, and 2025-26 UEFA Club Topps UEFA Club Competition Soccer Blaster. Continuing on, we have on the 2025 Topps Museum Collection Baseball, 2025 Topps UFC Stadium Club Blaster, Hobby, and Mega. Thank you guys for tuning into the show, and look for these new releases.
All right, before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, a little disclaimer. I am doing this recording before the first NFL postseason game is being played, so that won't have any bearing into the players we discussed. I wanted to do it before the playoffs. I may allude to the playoffs, but no games have been played as I record this, and so we'll go through some names here in the NFL, kind of give a hobby spin to them, the year that was. Again, so this is all based on 2025 regular season performance, and listen, no one is debating that the NFL is a quarterback driven league. It is, and so we'll start there. But we have seen some strides from other positions, especially obviously on the offensive side with running backs and wide receivers, right? So I'm not going to go into any kind of particular order. I just jotted some notes down, just some names. I actually didn't write a lot of notes. I'm a football guy, so I watch a lot of games and follow the season. Down year for Lamar Jackson, and Harbaugh's out now. There was a rumor that it was, one of them had to go, and I don't know if that's true. Not a great year. He seemed to be always on the injured list, if not injured himself. He did not run like his typical fashion. In the 4 or 5 games I watched him play, including the 2 Steeler games, his accuracy was not what it was prior to this year. So I don't know if the injuries. He's 29 years old. But if you're still a believer, this is kind of that age where things can change for a quarterback. But I don't think he's done. He's got some years ahead of him. Maybe a good opportunity to buy while the chips are down, if you will. But now he's got a new coach, whoever they hire here, coming in, and got to establish that relationship. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's talk about a couple younger guys, right? Drake May and Bo Nix. Love Drake May. And I was wrong on him coming out of the draft. I did not see this coming. Did not think he would be this good. And he's not a system quarterback. This guy has arm talent. He's accurate. He can run when he needs to. He's legit. And his cards are way up there already, so that that ship might have left the port if you want to really spend a lot of money on Drake May. But if you're a New England fan or just a Drake May fan, I'm a believer in him. I think he's legit. It's for the long haul. But we'll see. We'll see how this postseason turns out as well. Bo Nix, another guy I was wrong on. I did not think he'd be as good as he turned out to be. I can admit when I'm wrong, folks. But I think he's a little more Sean Payton system quarterback than, let's say, Drake May with Mike Vrabel. So he's not going to be a guy that I look to buy a ton of his cards. Again, I'm only speaking for me. You may love him and think he's better than Drake May and be buying his stuff up. And I think the season Drake May had took a little bit of the shine off Bo Nix, so it might be an opportunity if you're a fan of Bo Nix to grab some of his stuff. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. Finished the year in the IL with torn ACL, and Kansas City did not make the playoffs. How many times do we say that? Not very often. It's been a while. Had a quiet year, had Rashee Rice out of the lineup for 6 games, his number one target. I still believe in Patrick Mahomes, but, I've in the 6 years I've done the show, I've kind of called him the next Brady or the closest thing. I might backpedal a little bit or temper that a little bit, but I think there's another Super Bowl or 2 in that arm, and now's a great time. If you feel the same way, now's a great time to pick up some of his stuff. Probably not going to have as bad a year as he did, or down a year as he did, and not making the playoffs. And now's an opportunity, if you're a Mahomes guy, to grab some. Phillip Rivers. I didn't think we'd be talking about Phillip Rivers on this show. Let me preface that by saying we're not going to talk very long, right? What did the comeback for the few games do to his resume? I think it solidified it. The dude played fairly well at 44 years old, and he's 2 years older than Aaron Rodgers. He held his own. He's not going to continue that career, but I think, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? I don't know. but I think he helped his lore and his legend, and I think he gets in. And again, he's not an expensive guy to buy some cards if you're a Phillip Rivers fan. Josh Allen, is this the year he wins the Super Bowl? It sets up for him. No Kansas City. I think New England's going to be tough. I think Jacksonville's going to be tough who they play this weekend. If he can get, I'll preface it by this. If this is the year he wins the Super Bowl, obviously he goes into that elite category. He probably already is there now, truth be told. But if they have another kind of, playoff flame out or even an early one, the talent's there. Buffalo has got to do a better job getting him some receivers. That's number one. They rely too much on him playing hero ball and running in the leg. So I don't even think it's Josh Allen's fault. I think it's the front office there not getting him enough weapons. Shedeur Sanders, I don't know. Cleveland was probably not the best landing spot for him. Stepnansky's been let go. We'll see who they bring in. He's young, obviously, and he's got some arm talent. So, I think a lot of it's going to be about who they hire and how they handle him. Dak Prescott had an amazing year. I know Dallas didn't win enough to get into the playoffs, but Dak Prescott, I think when we look at him, and I'm not a huge Dak Prescott fan, but I think when all is said and done and we look at his career when it's over, we're going to probably be all surprised of the numbers he put up. And again, now adding George Pickens to that wide receiver room. Whether they keep George or not remains to be seen. But, Dak Prescott's probably going to be a Hall of Famer when all is said and done. And, again, he's not very expensive hobby. I'm going to put Matt Stafford and Jared Goff on the same line here. They traded for one another. One's in the postseason, one's not. One's a little bit held in more regard. One's not as much. And Matt Stafford, even at his advanced age, was the All-Pro, number one quarterback as voted on by the NFL. So, and the Rams are probably one of the favorites to get another ring. So, again, Matt Stafford, his pricing in the hobby does not match his stats. So he's actually not a bad guy to buy. Sam Darnold relocated to Seattle, played well, got them in the playoffs as well. And he's a buy low. If you think, I'm not a huge Sam Darnold fan, but how he played in Seattle has really made me rethink that he's, a good quarterback in the NFL. He's not elite. He's not great. But if Seattle makes some kind of run here in the postseason, singing a different tune. Trevor Lawrence, a guy I thought was going to be better coming out of Clemson in the NFL, struggled. I don't think the Urban Meyer hire was great for him, but he excelled this year. Became actually my fantasy league starting quarterback over Lamar Jackson. And not that has anything to do hobby-wise, but look at his numbers this year. I think that he's starting to figure it out. He's got the right staff in place. They've added some weapons for him, and including Jacoby Myers. And I still believe in Trevor Lawrence. I think it's taken him a few years to get the car started in and out of the garage. So we'll see. Ward from Tennessee, Cam Ward. I don't know. I know he had a great career in Miami after transferring in. Tennessee's a tough place to make your bones as a quarterback. They're looking for a new coach. I don't know, but I'm not a Cam Ward guy, but I wasn't a Bo Nix and Drake May guy either, and they turned out pretty good. Time will tell. Caleb Williams, another young guy. Talk about that turnaround, hiring Ben Johnson, not only in the standings and winning the NFC North, but Caleb Williams is a legit quarterback in the NFL, and I think he's got room to improve. And will that continue under Ben Johnson? I don't think he's a buy low candidate because his stuff's not real cheap, but someone, if you believe like the ceiling's not reached, which I don't think it has, maybe not a bad idea to pick up some of his stuff. All right, we spent a lot of time on the quarterbacks. Let's go to wide receivers next. Again, I'm going to go through just little one line about each of these guys. Who's the best wide receiver in football? I think the debate is down to two people now. And it's not Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. Not that they're bad. I think they're in the mix, obviously, as well, both of those LSU quarterbacks. But we've seen Jefferson struggle this year because of the lack of quarterback talent on that team between Brosner and J.J. McCarthy. Does not look like a legit NFL quarterback. So who are the two that are fighting for that number one best overall wide receiver in the NFL? Jackson Smith and Jigba and Puka Nacua. And you can't go wrong with either. The one thing you got going for you hobby-wise with them two is, receivers don't always bring as much money as quarterbacks. And these two guys look like they're going to be legit. They're not flashes in the pan. I think they're be legit number ones for the long haul. So I don't think you go wrong either place. Some other guys, Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, they're tight ends, but they play like wide receivers. And anytime you get a tight end that plays like a wide receiver, your Tony Gonzalez's, George Kittle, and even in his prime, those sort of guys, Antonio Gates back in the day. These guys have transcended the tight end position to another level. It's already was transcended from prior players, but McBride and Bowers, and I know he didn't have a great year. He got nicked up and then sat down to save his health. But I'm a big believer in Bowers. If they can get a decent quarterback, Geno Smith ain't it. He's going to be legit. And Trey McBride just broke some tight end records. So you won't go wrong with either or. George Pickens, if you think the change of scenery and if Dallas keeps him, I think it did wonders for him. But can he maintain that sort of work ethic for the long haul? He's sort of risky buy. For me, believe me, I saw plenty of them in Pittsburgh. We missed him this year. Like him or not, we missed his production in the Steelers locker room. And talk about a resurgent, right? Chris Olave in New Orleans, who didn't have great quarterbacks, but a lot of people were shoveling dirt on him, and he came back this year. Not young, but not super old. He's somewhere in that between. It'll be interesting to see what he does. So there's some of the guys in the wide receiver category, hobby-wise, to think about, take a look at. Let's go to running back position, and we'll close out the show with them. Christian McCaffrey, a lot of wearing at tires, but had an incredible, potentially MVP year this year. But, how much longer can he do it? He's not a spring chicken, but definitely looking like he will be in the NFL Hall of Fame when his career is said and done. Still fairly reasonably priced to pick some of his stuff up. A guy I really like. He kind of petered out a little bit towards the end of the year after a pretty good start. Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. They still believe in him, still like him. I think he's one of the best backs in the NFL. Derrick Henry's first ballot Hall of Famer. At what point does he have a bad year? Kind of struggled a little bit at the end of the season, but still had a great overall year. I think he'll start to be on the downturn, but you know how cards go up when someone makes the Hall. He's going to make the Hall, so might be an idea to put some of his stuff away. James Cook, fast becoming one of the better backs in the NFL. And, imagine what kind of numbers he'd have if Josh Allen didn't run the ball as much as he did either. He's taking some of those carries and yards away and still putting up gaudy numbers. So worth the money he kind of renegotiated for and sat out a little bit for. Maybe arguably the best back in the NFL, not James Cook, but Bijan Robinson from Atlanta. Be interesting if he was on a different team. But he can catch the ball, and sometimes he'll have a quiet day toting the ball and then have 7-8 catches for 70, 80, 90 yards. He's a multi-threat, and arguably one of the top picks in fantasy league drafts, and just a great dynamic player. And Ashton Genty, he was hot and cold, but listen, he was on the Raiders. Let's give him a pass for that train wreck of a team. Pete Carroll's out. Chip Kelly got fired during the year. Let's see who they bring in. I still believe in Ashton Genty. I think he is a worthy of that number 6 pick They just got to get the right pieces in place there. They got a good nucleus there with the Raiders and with him and Bowers. They just got to get a QB and some decent coaches. Talk about the two Ohio State guys, Trayvon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. Unfortunately, Quinshon, serious leg injury to end his season. I think that's going to be tough to come back from. So if you're more of a believer than me, now's the time to buy because his cards won't be much lower than they are right now. Trevor Henderson, he's a game breaker. He can take it to the house on one carry. I'd like to see more consistency from him than we saw. Like he'll have a huge game and then sort of become Joe Average. But the talent is obviously there, right? You don't have those huge games by accident. I think he's a game breaker type. Jamar Gibbs, again, one of the top running backs in the league. Didn't have a great Jamar Gibbs, but even his good Jamar Gibbs year is better than most backs. So love him in Detroit. Again, not a bad guy to kind of stock up on and purchase. Let's talk about the veteran in the room along with Derrick Henry, right? Saquon Barkley. Not a great year for Saquon as far as how you measure it up to Saquon, but a lot of other running backs would love the numbers that he had. But again, he's another guy like McCaffrey. There's starting to be some wear on the tires, some tread on the tires winding down. So probably a couple years now with Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, maybe even a year or two less. But they're all three of them look like they're going to be first ballot Hall of Famers. So that being said, maybe as we know, running backs don't probably bring as much money as they should, but good opportunity maybe grab some rookie cards of those guys, autograph cards of those guys, and put them away and wait for Canton to come calling. So hopefully I didn't leave anybody out. I tried to encompass as many and keep the content at a consumable amount of time. So we do these, we try to do these each year, kind of the wrap up the season that was. I'll finish with this. The Steelers, snuck their way into the playoffs thanks to a missed field goal. I don't expect them to last too long. I'm a realist, but if your team's in the playoff or even if your team's not in the playoffs, enjoy the postseason. Football is awesome to watch, whether it's your team or not your team. And so we'll close on that. Enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you soon.